WebAssign before, a lot of this is going to be, old hat, what's going to be going on with this stuff. But if not, you haven't done WebAssign before, folks. There we go. Okay, so, oops, hold on. Let me move the windows around here a little bit so I can catch the chat here. Oops, darn. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Let me get things situated here so I can see chat. Okay. All right. So again, if you haven't done WebAssign before, folks, give me one more thing here real quick. Sorry about that. Go. Okay. All right. So just go over to webassign.net here, and then enter the. Sorry, I should make sure. Can everyone see the web browser there online? I should make sure you can all see that. I hope. Yep. Good. Okay. Okay. So just click on enter class key. And then the class key should be this one, I hope. If not, of course, it's listed over on one of the announcements over on Blackboard. So you get your class key from there, enter it in exactly as it is, with spaces and all, with the word, the mark, et cetera, et cetera. Just click register, bring up a class, make sure that that's your class. And if it is, just click confirm to register. And then at that point, I probably shouldn't have done that. As I'm logged in as WebAssign here. Yeah, I knew it's going to do that to me. Darn it. So it says an instructor is going to log me back in here. But for you guys, of course, it's not going to do that. So let me sign out real quick again on this. It's going to get me in trouble, I think. Come on, sign out. Sorry about that, folks. So back to this. And it's going to, let me sign me back in again. So let me just kind of stop at this point. Darn it. Sorry. Class key. Okay, well, sorry about that, folks. Just wanting to kind of log me in here, so I'm not trying to close this down completely to get this out. But basically, register for the class. At that point, it's going to give you the option to either sign in. If you already got signed in, it's probably getting me in trouble here. Of course, obviously I have an account here, or sign up for an account at that stage. Okay, and that'll get you into that and get you into something that should look then vaguely like this. Okay, so now this is what they call the student view for me here, but be aware, folks, that what you see here may not be exactly what you see. There's at least one place I know where things are a little bit different on what I see for student view and what you guys are going to see when you actually log in. But you'll see something vaguely like this, okay? The first thing that you need to make sure and do, folks, is this up here. And last semester it was a bell icon. This time it looks like they've changed the icon a little bit. Oh, man, come on. All right, I'll bet it's hold on, folks. I'll bet it logged me out again. Sorry. Go through this login process one more time. Back into that. Well, they really changed some stuff over the semester here, over the break, and it is really messed up right now. Sorry about this, folks. I don't know why they made some changes they did, but it makes logging in for me painful. Okay, back into student view real quick. That one. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so these notifications here, folks, do this stuff, okay? If I ever have to change dates, et cetera, I don't do announcements here, so you need to worry about that one. This one, I'll say more. I already kind of told you, folks, I don't give extensions. There isn't even a button for extensions on here, so you can ignore this one because I'm not going to give extensions, so don't worry about that. You definitely want to check this one in case I need to send a message to you, and you definitely want to check this one here. I'll say more about this here in a little bit as well. Basically, the first one and the last two, you definitely want to check. And over here as well, depending on you, of course, folks, but remind you before due dates and whatnot, you need to check these, folks. Make sure you got announcements going. Now, again, last semester, they also made you verify your email. Looks like they're not doing that this time. So I think on Blackboard, I said to verify, but you don't, that's not on here this time. So basically, click the ones you want the announcements on or the notifications on, and then save, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All right. Just make sure that you do that. Now, other thing here I should make sure to mention again, folks, is that when you first register here, of course, you're in what they're going to call a trial period. You have basically, let's see here. Matthew, I'll get your question in a second here. Sorry about that. I'll get your question in a second. Let me kind of go through the important stuff here, and then I'll come back and hit your question. But trial period here, I think it kind of relates to what you got going on here with your question. But it's a 14-day trial period, and it doesn't start from when you register. It starts from today because that's when the class starts. Okay, so you got 14 days basically to pay for the website, and Then Matthew, I guess kind of comes down to because of several options there for paying. Um, there's some multi-term stuff. There's some unlimited stuff. If you have a lot of instructors using WebAssign, the unlimited is probably not a bad idea because I get access to everything in that one thing. But I can't tell whether that's good or not. I would generally suggest just the one semester because they got one that's a multi-term option for buying. Um, but that multi-term usage presupposes a ton of things. It presupposes that you take the next class in the sequence. So Calc 2, Calc 3, it presupposes you take Calc 3 next semester. If you don't, you're out of luck. It presupposes that whoever you have for Calc 3 next semester is going to be using WebAssign and using the book that I'm using here. There's a lot of things that you got to presuppose there. Generally speaking, the way things are run here at Lamar, you just can't guarantee anything's going on. That everyone's using WebAssign. Not everyone's going to use the same books. I just generally suggest you just buy the one semester, to be honest with you. But it's up to you what you want to buy. But you do need to buy that, though. I think there's usually a big announcement right up here. Of course, I'm missing it because I'm not actually doing this here. So through that. But anyway, yeah, and there's some differences in prices, but I can't see the prices for that stuff as well. So, but there's a big announcement up here. Pay attention to that kind of thing, because basically, if you don't pay for it, folks, that means you can't do homework this semester, and if you don't do homework, you're not passing the class. Fact of life. Okay, it's just the point wise, you're not going to be allowed to pass the class. Okay, so be aware of that. Now, a lot of stuff on here I don't really use, folks. You can click on some of this stuff like the class insight, stuff like that. Personal study plan here. This is for a different book, but you should have one for yours as well. If you want to go through and look at this stuff, you can take a look at that if you'd like to. They've got some lectures and stuff here, although again, the lectures that I kind of look through them, to be honest with you, are not always the best. Again, this is a different book than what you guys have. This is the one I'm using for my calculus 1 class this semester. So, but you can look through some of the lectures there. They're not going to always match up exactly with what I do. So, to be honest with you, folks, I'm not sure exactly how good they're going to be. To be honest with you, I'm doing this for the homework because, well, COVID. Yeah, we have to do something for homework. I can't make you guys turn it in hand. Okay, so this is the way it's going to be. Okay, so. All right, now, as far as homework stuff it goes here, folks, let me run through a couple things real quick. So let me pop into one here real quick. First of all, of course, pay attention to the points here. For you guys, they're all going to be worth 10 points. Again, I just threw some stuff in here, so the points aren't going to match up with what you've got here for your homework set, but pay attention to the points for each problem. And I can't stress this enough, folks. Read the instructions, all of it, okay? Sometimes I will put stuff in the instructions because, again, some of the problems, since these are coming out of these books, they may not match up exactly with what I'm doing. So sometimes there's some weird stuff in the problems, and I'll put it up in the instructions, say, hey, watch out for this, or hey, they use this phrase, it means this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so please pay attention to that kind of thing. Okay. All right, now, for the problems themselves here, folks, again, I think for you guys, there's an actual details button here instead of the plus that you've got sitting here. Click that, folks, okay? And because it tells you how many submissions you have for each problem, each attempt for each problem, okay? In this case, it's set up with the standard I got for the homework sets for you guys. There's set up to use 4 submissions. And tracks which one you've got here. And I'll talk about some other stuff with this as well, but check this for each problem, folks, so you know each part is worth how many points, et cetera, et cetera. So part 1, part 2, 1 point, 1 point in this case each, okay? But check this so you know what's going on, okay? There was also that ask your teacher thing over here, folks. If you need to ask me a question, you can just click on this. I would suggest, widen that out a little bit. You can type your question in here, then just hit the send button there. Oops, probably put that a little bit past there, but yeah, hit the send button. It'll send me a notification. Most of the time, folks, I'm going to ask that you use this because this way, when I get the notification for it, I can pop over, I can see exactly what question you were working with, et cetera, et cetera. Otherwise, again, if you just send me an email, again, first got to figure out what class you're in, then I got to find the problem, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little bit easier to use this here, okay? If you need to actually send me something, a picture of your work or something, I'll just say, hey, send me that through an email. But this is the best way to ask me questions, okay? So, all right, so there's that. Now, as far as if you haven't used WebAssign before, folks, that's most of what we've got going on here. So some quick stuff here. About some WebAssign stuff. You've also got a quick little introductory homework set. I'll try to comment on here in a minute, but that's already assigned for you. I'll say a comment about that here in a second. I'm going to get done with this stuff. So a lot of this is kind of just rehashing some stuff in there as well. But when you got some stuff here, folks, so first of all, of course, you click in here, it often opens up this Calc pad. It won't always open that up, but it'll often open this up. You've got a lot of things over here you can use through this to input things if you need to. Okay, so make use of this if you can. Although some things like fractions and exponentiation, you don't really need to use, which I'll comment on here in a second. Okay. But when you put things in here, folks, just be careful when you type things in. Yeah, so in this case, for this particular problem, domains and ranges, remember what those are. Domains are just all the x's we can type into the function. Yeah, so the domain of this function we know is basically all real numbers. And once again, pay attention to the instructions again. Yeah, answer in interval notation. I don't know how many times last semester I got people saying they couldn't figure out why it wasn't taking the answer is because they didn't bother to read the instructions and they weren't putting it into proper form. Okay, so pay attention to that. Now, in this case, again, we know domain is from minus infinity to plus infinity. So we can just start, we can either type in, we can either use, where's it at over here? I tend to not use this. We can either use the sets one over here to kind of put in your basic interval notation stuff here. Or nice thing about WebAssign, if you just start typing your parentheses, you'll note that it'll kind of automatically close it for you. Okay. In our case, from minus infinity to infinity, we can come back up here, symbols, infinity, and then comma. And then if you want to, and WebAssign is pretty good about this as well, properly. If you can type in the word, it'll often auto convert to what you got as well. So if you don't want to use this pad over here, you don't have to. For me, it's quicker to type them in than trying to find in the pad, but there it is, okay? At that point, of course, you can either do the whole thing at once or piece by piece. It's up to you. You can submit your answer, and it'll tell you if it's right or if it's wrong. Yep, okay, so a little green check mark here means you got it right. You don't have to worry about it ever again, okay? So, yeah.
If you were to only write an answer on one of the boxes and hit submit, would it count anything for the
No, it won't count anything for one you didn't count for. So all the submissions are purely based on each part in and of itself. So at least I've got it set up that way. Not everyone does it that way, but I've got it set up that way. So yeah. So and again, you'll notice, and that's another thing to come up here again with the details. You'll notice again, it's good to make your point here. It gave me one submission on this because I used one submission, but the one I didn't enter anything in, nothing. Yep. Okay. So no submissions there. So good reason to keep track of those detailed things there. Okay. Now, next thing here, folks, again, just real quickly with the range. Remember what range is. It's all the values that comes out of our function. This is a parabola. We know it starts at -9, opens upward. So we know it's going to be from -9 up to infinity, but we have to include the -9, which of course means a square bracket. Noticing though, of course, that, go ahead and type this in here. So -9, infinity, spelled right, there it is. But remember, of course, that we don't actually want infinity included. So, of course, if we don't pay attention, if we just hit submit at this point, there we go. It's wrong. Why is it wrong? Well, it's wrong because we had the square bracket there. Yep. Okay. And again, of course, noticing, yeah, you used a submission there, but again, not submission on this one. So again, even if this one has had been wrong, if all you do is change this one, it's not going to recount your submissions for that. Right. So, all right. So the pay attention to this kind of thing, folks. To fix this up, you can just kind of come back over here, just hit a delete sign, hit the backspace real quick, and then just hit the round parenthesis. Or, of course, you can use the appropriate one right there over in the set ones. Okay. And then submit answer again. And there we go. Now it's right. So once you see green marks everywhere, you know it's correct. And of course, you'll see the points you got up here as well. Okay. All right. So is that making sense to everybody? Yeah, a little bit, I hope. Okay. Next one here, real quickly, folks. I'm not going to do all these. A couple of quick comments here, folks. Again, so again, just for Greek letters, again, you can either use the Greek tab here. You got your lowercase here. You got your uppercase there. So you can either use that, or again, if you know how to spell the word, pi. Yep. Okay. So pi, or use the pi over here. Again, we know the multiple of pi of 45 is pi over 4. So again, just for a quick little quick little example here. Again, you can either use this to turn it into a fraction. Yep. Or get out of that for a minute. Or you can use the backspace key on your keyboard to turn it into a fraction. However you want to do it. It's up to you. Okay. But again, I think keyboards, once you get used to those keyboard shortcuts, they're a heck of a lot quicker than that. Okay. And then 4 there. Okay. Now, decimals, real quickly, pay attention again, folks, okay? So in this case, it says it wants it rounded to 3 decimal places. So 3 decimal places, yeah? So let me get the exact decimal for that real quick here. So 4, so 0.783598. So just to make a quick point here, folks, if you do just 2, oops, sorry, forgot my period there. Of course. Oh, darn it. Sorry. I got the wrong thing. Okay, not want. Let's start with that. Take my num lock. Now, again, This is what gets people in trouble. Yeah. Wrong. Why is it wrong? Well, because it says 3 decimal places. I didn't use 3 decimal places. I used 2. Yep. Okay. You know it's the right number, but you didn't use the right decimal places, so you got it wrong. Read the instructions. Can't stress that enough. Okay. Now, in this case, 5, because 3 decimal places. Note though, unless it says exactly, and one of them in your little practice homework set will do exactly. You can see how that works with this. I don't tend to do that, but if it shows up exactly, or if not, you can do a few more. So in this case, 398. Yep. So you can do more unless it says otherwise. But you need to do at least the number that it says. Okay, notice it did count it correct if I did more. Okay, again, if it does, it says exactly, put in exactly 3, etc., etc. And you can see that in the little practice homework set that I gave you, which I'll talk more about here in a minute. Now, I'm not going to do the rest of these, folks. Just want to kind of touch on some of the stuff there with that. Okay, all right. Next thing. So again, here we've got with this one. Okay. So comma separated lists here, you're going to see a lot of things they're going to ask for comma separated lists. Actually, in this class, I should be careful. Not sure we'll see a lot in this class, okay? But if you do see them comma separated lists, that's exactly what they say they are. You type everything in with a comma, separating everything out in the list, okay? Now, again, in this case, hopefully this is simple enough. We know where cosine is pi over 2. Square root 2 over 2. That's pi over 4, yep. So submit the answer, except wrong. Why wrong? Well, it's because, again, read the instructions, yeah? All the answers in that range there between 0 and pi over 2. Got one of them, we know it's there, but there's others out there as well. Now, again, another place where that's going to be is going to be what? It's going to be minus pi over 4. Yeah, so minus pi over 4. Okay, notice I got a comma separating them there. Okay, submit the answer. And it's still wrong. Why is it wrong? Well, again, because I didn't bother to read instructions between 0 and 2 pi. Yep. So that is it is an answer, of course, but it ain't between 0 and 2 pi. So kind of, if you remember, the equivalent answer between minus sign there, between 0 and 2 pi is 7 pi or 4. Okay, now again, you kind of see me moving the little box around there, folks. I'm just using the little arrow keys on my keyboard to move the cursor around there. Kind of useful again with that as well. Okay. So let's do that one, because that one should give me the right answer there, I think. Yep, there we go. Okay, but again, comma separated list, just put a comma between everything. Okay, and again, I can't stress enough, folks, again, please read the instructions. Yeah, okay, again, this is one of the things that gets folks in trouble all the time. Okay? All right, so yeah, sometimes computers hate me too. I'm also, to be honest with you, folks, I'm not super used to using laptops. I'm used to using a desktop, so laptop for this stuff because of the way I'm doing stuff here. So I'm used to bigger keyboards too. So, okay. So now one last little thing, two last little things here, folks. So again, when it comes to typing in functions here, again, just pay attention to things here. I'm not going to type in the right answer here. Just got a couple comments I want to make with this. Let me just type in f of x here. Yeah. Again, for things like exponents, again, you can either use the exponent button here. So I'm going to type the x in, and then there puts the exponent up in there. Yeah. Or you can just type it in correctly. And again, I can see anything, so it's best not to type. Just hit the button without typing anything in. So x, whatever you want to have, and then button for the exponent too. Again, or you can just use x and then followed by shift 6. That'll do the same thing. Yep. Okay. So exponents are simple, things like that. Trig functions, again, you can either do things. We'll do a lot of trig functions, so you have to get good at these, folks. You can either use the trig thing over here to type in this case, say cosine. There it is. You'll note it puts in parentheses for you. So you can do that. Or again, you can just do COS, type it in, and there you go. Okay, and again, it'll put parentheses in automatically for you. So then again, say, x squared plus 5. Oops. Pay attention to what I just did there. Yeah, x squared actually been minus 5. But make sure when you're in the exponent, folks, I think about saying this, but make sure you arrow key out of the exponent before you put in the rest of it. Yeah, okay. But simple things like that. Okay, again, there's another one on that practice homework set, folks. It's got a big long formula I want you to type in, so I'll let you kind of do that. But just kind of couple of quick little things with that. Okay. Now, next thing here, folks, this type of question here, multiple choice or choices where sometimes a drop-down box or something like that. But problems where there are, finite number of answers, in this case, yes or no, or true or false, or increasing, decreasing, not changing, you pick it. A lot of things like that. In this class, folks, you're going to see a ton of these types of problems in a couple sections, okay? There's going to be a couple sections where basically every problem is one or two of these things, okay? Now, this is where this detail stuff becomes important, folks, okay? I talked about this a little bit in the website announcement on Blackboard, but there ain't no way you're getting four attempts on a two-part problem. Yeah, because obviously no one would get it wrong at that stage. Pick one right now. Okay, great. Wrong. Okay, I'll pick the other one. Okay, so you know you're not going to get 4 attempts on this, folks. Okay, or if there's 3, you're not going to get 4 attempts on that. You are always going to get at most one less attempt than there are parts. So if there's 2 parts here, you're getting 1. That's it. That's all you're getting. Okay. If there's 3, you might get 1 or 2, depending on how easy I think the answer should be. Okay. But that's where the details come into play here. Yep. Okay. First of all, pay attention to right here, number of attempts, just 3 in this case. Now, in this case, I did 3, just to kind of make a point here. But so there's 3 there. Okay. So in this case, pay attention to this, how many attempts you've got. But again, folks, it'll never be this. It'll always be fewer than attempts that you've got here. Okay. Now, the next thing here, looks like my video. Yeah, sorry about that. A little bit crazy on the video on my end of things here. Next thing to note is this, folks. Again, if I give you more, okay, I am inevitably going to take points off if you need more than the first one. So if you get it right in the first one, you get full credit, in this case, a point. But if you need, say, the second one to get it right, you're going to lose 20%. I mean, you're going to get 0.8 of points on that problem. That's all you're going to get if you get it right on the second attempt. Right? If you get it right on the third attempt, then you're going to get 20% off for each attempt, so you'll get 0.6 points off. Okay, but this is where these detail stuff here, folks. Pay attention to this. Anytime you see this, this will be here. This tells you what your deduction or the penalty is going to be for extra guesses. And again, folks, this is not here to punish you. It is here to make sure basically you can't just kind of by trial and error fuck into the right answer, because the more times you guess, the more you can narrow into what the right answer is going to be. Okay, so all right. So does that make sense to everybody on this multiple choice type thing? Yep. Any questions on that? Because again, you guys are going to see a ton of these this semester. And by a ton of them, you're going to see a lot of just 2 answers here. Okay, so all right. So making sense to everybody, I hope. Yep. Okay. Now, last but a couple more things here real quickly, folks. There is this practice another version here, folks. If I click this, is going to bring up a pop-up, so I don't think it's going to actually show it to you. It'll bring up another version with some different numbers here, folks. If you're stuck, you can always give this a shot. Okay. Let's see what that says there. Let's see if you can kind of figure out how to work it based on this. So there's that. Lastly, these 2 things down here, folks. This submit answer assignment button, folks. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not exactly sure what that is. I think all this does, it comes up here and kind of submits all the submit answer buttons for you. Okay, because if you click it, well, there you go. That's what it does. I've never been able to figure out exactly what it does. Other than, of course, obviously it did submit this one for me. Okay, so I think that's all it does. So it doesn't actually do any submission. This one here, folks, again, I think it's almost the same idea here. Basically, though, I would suggest for you guys to always just do this for each one, and then at the very end, make sure they're all been submitted by doing this once. Okay, that's what I would suggest for you guys. Okay, all right. So does that make sense to everybody? I hope. Keep an eye on time here. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So one more thing I want to do real quickly in the web assign stuff here, folks. Sharon's gonna back into that one there. Okay. Once a homework has been due, of course, it grades automatically. Of course, you can always see it down here in your past assignments. Yep. Okay, so I've got one in here I was kind of filling with last semester for some things. A past assignment here. Okay. So you can click on this if you want to. Of course, you'll have your grades sitting here. I was using this to test some stuff out, but it's a good way to talk about old assignments and stuff like this. So you can see your grades here. You can see, again, 2 out of 10 on this one, 2 out of 6 on this one, no points on this one, didn't even attempt this one, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so there's your points there, distributions. The other thing, and a lot of folks don't necessarily know this, folks, but if you come into this under the instructions, whatever that's going to be, you'll always see this view key button here. You can always click on this to actually see the answers to the problems. Okay. Now, they put this in here about planning to request an extension. Again, folks, yeah, you can ignore that because again, as I have said, yeah, I don't give extensions. So there it is. Okay. So you can ignore that there, but you can always view the key here. I'm not going to bother with this. This is a bunch of Calc 3 stuff, so I'm not going to bother bringing that up for you guys for this. But you can view the key here. The only thing I will warn you about on this, folks, and you do need to be a little bit more kind of be aware of this, is that I'll be honest with you, not all the solutions are that great. Okay, but they are there, so you can take a look at them, see what you did wrong, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so make sure you take a look at that. Okay, all right. So let me see. it keeps doing this to me. So one more thing here. So for you guys, I guess, and pop into your guys' class real quick. So again, for you guys, you've got 2 homework sets here already. I'll take a quick comment about the due dates here in a second. You've got this introductory homework set here, folks. I'm not going to go into it. You can go in and take a look at it if you want to. But this is just kind of get you used to working with WebAssign here. I have it due next Wednesday here, folks. This should not take you more than just a few minutes to do, though. Okay. This is due next Wednesday, mostly because there's always an ebb and flow. So I didn't want to have it due this week because then somebody would get a chance to get it done. Okay? So it's worth 5 points. It's due next Wednesday. You'll note there's actually a real homework set due on Wednesday as well, folks. Here's your first real homework set, which of course you can't start yet at this point. But here's your first, and again, whether this is going to be a real due date or not yet, folks, I don't know. With this using the OneNote stuff, I can't tell exactly how long this stuff is going to take to run through. So we'll see what this is. If anything, I have to do anything, I will push it back. Okay. But there's your due date there. So again, generally you're not going to have 2 things due on one day. But again, this one, just get it done now, folks. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Okay. If there's nothing in here, it's basically just typing a bunch of stuff in. Okay. So real simple stuff here. Shouldn't take more than maybe 15, 20 minutes tops to do. Okay. Get it done, get it out of your way. No calculus in there at all. Just typing some stuff in. And then this one here. Okay. So does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that about how this WebAssign stuff is going to work? Nope. Okay. So what we got here? So good. All right. So got a little bit of time here, folks. So let me pop back into. Oops. Sorry. Blackboard here. So just real quickly here, folks. Let me just kind of pop back over into this. Okay. So again, let me get my rearrange things here a little bit for me. Just a second here. All right. So again, this is how lectures are going to be done. Now, I see what you're saying about the links here. I thought I actually had them typed in. So let me check those links, see if they're working or not. I'll see what we can do with those and get those fixed up if those links aren't working. So I thought they should. I tested them on my end, but maybe when they exported them, they didn't work. So I'll see about they work from OneNote itself, but I'll see how it works from this. So, but you got links to the material that I've got online here. I got a website for all the material typed in, so link to that. This class also has a ton of practice problems, folks, okay? And even if the links don't work here, let me type it in here, folks. You can always get over there by going to tutorial. Here, there's going to be a little bit more stuff over in here, though, than in here, because I just don't have time to work everything. And again, some practice problems. And for you guys, I can't stress enough, you need to do some practice problems on this stuff, okay? All right, but basically what I'm going to do, folks, I'm not going to rearrange things here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I hope things are going to work out for me here. Basically, I'm going to be writing on this, yeah? So again, I'm kind of doing this bad here. So I don't have this all set up to do writing on here, but basically this is how everything's going to be done this semester, okay? So again, it's like I said, I'm trying to write on the screen here without screen flat here, so a little bit worse than normal here. But I'm going to write everything inside of here, okay? Plenty of space here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how things are going to work here, okay? So we will do more about this stuff tomorrow with the first lecture here. Just kind of want to show you basically how things are going to go here, okay? So, all right, there's that. Now, one last thing here in the remaining couple of minutes. I've got what I've got about 10 minutes left here. Yeah. So we'll do all this lecture stuff here tomorrow here. So let me kind of just go back to video, I guess, here. Oops. Okay. All right. So one last thing here, folks, and so we'll do start kind of real class up on next time. One thing that I need to warn everybody about, folks, this is Calc 2. Yep. If you talk to anyone who's been through Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, all three of those, 2/3 of them are going to tell you Calc 2 is the hardest. Okay, the other third's going to tell you Calc 3 is the hardest. Okay, for reasons which we'll actually discuss down the end of the road to get to the end of the semester. There's a couple of things what makes Calc 3 kind of hard for some folks, but we'll talk about that when the time rolls around. Excuse me. Now, I bring this up, folks, because unfortunately, one of the things I think that makes Calc 2 particularly hard is we jump right into the hard stuff. Some of the worst stuff we're going to do is the first two sets of material, first two sets of exam sets of material. Okay, this is a class that definitely just kind of starts off hard, folks. Okay, what you guys are going to need to do, okay, I cannot stress this enough, is make sure you have your basic calculus 1 stuff down, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? You have your basic derivatives down, okay? I'm not going to go through all that stuff. I'm assuming you can do all your basic derivatives. With your basic derivatives, the other thing that you have to have down, folks, and you've got to be good at this stuff, is basic substitutions for integration, okay? Because that's, as you can see from that one note that I had up there a minute ago, that was, we're starting an integration, okay? And I started off with kind of a quick little, basically, it's kind of a quick little review for substitutions and stuff. Also leads me into the reason we're doing the first topic we're going to talk about. But basically, folks, what you're going to find is practically every problem, I'm going to say all, but practically every problem is going to involve a substitution in some way, shape, form, or another. Okay, so you're going to have to be good at this stuff. Okay, if you're kind of having to scrape rust off of all your substitution work or kind of learn substitutions, relearn them, whatnot, while learning the Calc 2 stuff, you're in trouble, basically. It's going to take you forever to do this stuff. Okay, and to make matters worse, outside of the first section, the next, what's going to be, I think, the next 3 sections are really just substitutions. 2 of them are straight up Calc 1 substitutions, but there's a lot of work you got to do to get to the point where it's a Calc 1 substitution. And then the other one, which is basically the nightmare section, I'm not going to say much more about that at this point, is a Calc 1 substitution, but it's done in a way that you've never seen them done before. Okay, but basically, folks, you've got to have Calc 1 substitutions down. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, so yeah, as far as some practice problems for that, yeah, just go over to the website again. I'll go hit the Calc 1 material. And if I think about it, if I get those links fixed up over on the OneNote stuff, I'll see if I can put some links to that on there as well. But over the Calc 1 material, I got actually 2 whole sections of substitutions and stuff like that. So definitely work through some practice problems on that stuff. It will definitely help you with that. So, okay, so there is that, folks. I think that's all I've got. So again, not enough time to really do anything else here today. So any questions? If not, we will call this good for the day. But any questions, I will see if I can answer. If not, we will start classes up formally tomorrow. So no questions? Okay. So again, I think as far as, unless I get a bunch of emails in today, folks, if you ask to come to class on Wednesday, feel free to show up tomorrow. At this point, I know I've got enough room in here to handle everybody. But we'll see. Okay, if we get a few more in, then we'll have to worry about doing a schedule. But at this point, everybody can come if they want to. So, all right. So we'll call it good here, folks, and I will see everybody tomorrow. Okay. Oh, be careful, folks. Remember that they are very, very different times between Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, bad way of doing it, but it's the way they do it. Okay, so just pay attention to different times tomorrow. Okay. So, all right. I will see everybody tomorrow. Yeah.
Having trouble signing on Blackboard.
Yeah, and it happens with this stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I got my password reset and everything. It's not
Oh yeah. That's going to be a problem with this. Casey, as far as the textbook goes, no, you don't technically need a textbook, but you kind of have to pay for it through the Web of Science stuff. But if you don't need a physical copy of the textbook, I'll be honest with you, I don't even mention textbooks for the most part in this class. So yeah, but don't need a textbook physical copy. You just got to have the Web of Science stuff.